It's fourth period, I am wiped. This teaching first all the way through third period, I'm gonna have to get used to because I have not done this in a while. But I think I said this in my last vlog, I'm getting a student teacher, actually a male. They switched on me. So today was just a repeat of what my students did on Friday, B-Day. So they played the different things, and the only thing that was different is I had a couple students that were trying to get out of the video, and I was like, well, you can do the video or present in front of the class. And once they heard me say that, they did the video. And I'm trying to use a video as a means to not present in front of the class. However, I am going to at some point make them present because I just think it's a skill, regardless of whether it's this class, get up in front and talk to people, because some of them might be managers later on, or they might have to give them a presentation, I don't know. So it's just one of the things that I want to have them do. I also am still trying to get used to having students all over the place with the personalization. I did it a little bit towards the end of last school year, but not with what I'm doing. Actually, it's funny because some of my former students today, they saw what my students this year were doing, and they're like, how come we didn't get to do this last year? I'm like, well, you know, it had been like 10 years since I had last taught pre-AP chemistry, so that's the reason why. Not 10 years, 7 years since I had last taught it. So I think the students had a good time, and I'm going to connect it to the topic of accuracy and precision on tomorrow and Wednesday. But other than that, I'm going to take care of some stuff here and call it a day. It's Tuesday afternoon, evening, perhaps, I don't know. School's out, I don't know what time it is, but I do know that I need to go home, go to the gym, and then go home. So I'll talk a little bit more about what we did today tomorrow, because my 8A has to do the same lesson tomorrow. However, today was the first day that I made the students switch their calculators, their cell phone for a calculator. And I don't know if some of the students were having withdrawals. We'll see. But I felt that made a difference because they had to focus on what we were doing. And then I moved into small group lessons or interventions, if you will, based on the assessment that I gave at the beginning of last period, where it was rounding scientific notation. I'm mainly focused on scientific notation because that's just entering it into the calculator, and the problems that we will have, especially second semester, I need for them to understand scientific notation. I'm still trying to get the hang of being in a small group and just basically, you know, changing up my instruction, because while I'm still teaching the same concepts that I'm familiar with, the way that I'm going about doing it this year is different from anything that I've ever done. Personalization, blended learning, center-based grading, and while I see the benefits of it and like I'm excited for it, at the same time I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm definitely like on the positive side of everything, but I'm still trying to figure everything out, and like, is this working? Is this not working? And then on top of that, like the district is having issues with Canvas. Like students can't log in using their Chromebook, or they can't even log in using their phone, and so it's just been a hassle for teachers and students. And so the course is built on using the Canvas, and so having students not being able to log in and access the videos is another issue. But as far as a small group setting is going, like I make sure to give them a problem, and then I will walk to the back or walk around the classroom real quick just to make sure everybody else is on task, and then I come back. I did have to say for one of my earlier classes today, towards the end, like, hey, you know, please just don't sit there if you're confused, either in a small group setting, because I had like one student trying to like draw, and I'm like, no, I need to get you back on track. And then another student that should have been watching the video was trying to move ahead and do the problems, but didn't understand what the concept was. And so when I looked at the paper, everything was incorrect. So just making sure that the students, number one, they ask people at their table, but then they're free to get up and go ask somebody else across the room for help. And if nobody can help them, then they come up and they can ask me. And I will stop once I am able to find a point to stop and give the small group students something to work on. I will turn around and I will help the student. And usually that's pretty quick because I want to make sure that I'm supporting everybody. But I'm still, I don't know, like if I'm struggling with that, or I don't feel, maybe it's just confidence with everything right now in terms of what I'm doing and like what I'm feeling. And I can't even describe like what I'm feeling right now. It's just kind of one of these things where, okay, it seems to be working and I'll go with it. But I'm gonna end here because I need to leave, and I will talk more about what we did today and what we're doing tomorrow. Happy hump day. I'm actually gonna get ready to head out to UT once I'm done shooting this, so I'm gonna make this really quick. So, well, it's been like meeting after meeting. So yesterday during lunch I had a technology committee meeting. Today during lunch I had a new teacher mentor meeting because I'm mentoring two new teachers, and then I'm going to UT right after this to meet my student teacher. So real quick about what we did today. So I was finishing introducing students to accuracy, precision, and also significant figures. So I measured this little bottle thing. First on a kitchen scale balance, then on a digital balance, then on the analytical balance, so the students can see the precision of each instrument. And then I also use, sorry for the mess back here because I was just moving things back and forth, the sheet from my numbers and science blended learning stations, because they didn't do that this year. So they can also see the difference between all three. And I talked about, you know, the degree of uncertainty when measuring in the lab. From there, well, actually, they entered their responses in a discussion board, and then they were able to see, but I had students talk to one another. From there, what I did was I got to use yesterday and today, I can't remember if I talked about that, but I had students switch out their cell phone for a calculator. Most classes, I say most because today, third period, decided that I only had one phone out of all the students, and most of them came with just their cell phone without their Chromebook. We are having issues, students are having issues with their Chromebook either logging in, and so that's understandable, but I think many of them had already heard that they had to, and I told them already about this, so I only had one cell phone here. All my other classes, students came in, they put phones in, but I did tell all classes that starting next week they need to start having their Chromebooks, because, and I don't know how I feel about this, but I was most likely going to assign them Saturday school and have them complete the assignment in there, because some of the things that I use technology wise they can't access and or do on their phone, or it just takes a lot longer for them. So it's just a pain, and some of them are trying to get out of not using their Chromebook, and I didn't have issues like this last year with students bringing in their Chromebook. So from there I talked about accuracy, precision, we took some notes, they did some independent practice. Then from there, I'm trying to think what I did. Oh, there's this sheet, and maybe I'll show it tomorrow, but basically I made them force copy a Google spreadsheet that I created, where it has all the concepts and then the learning targets. So like I can statements, like I can round to the nearest tens place, I can round to the nearest hundreds place. And they can either check got it, or still need practice, and there's like an FA number 1, like formative assessment and evidence. So I already put some grades into the grade book, or it's not really grades, everything's weighted. So 50, I still need practice, 100 means that I got it, but it doesn't mean like 100 as an A, a 50 as an F. It just means either I got it or I still need practice, because I weighted those numbers in the grade book as a 0. After I showed them that and I explained it, and I'll work with them some more, then I showed them how to access the significant figure videos that I created before the start of the school year, but then also let them know how they can demonstrate their understanding. So one way could be they could play individually or no more than 4 people puzzles, target puzzles. There's the answer keys in there. They can do a worksheet right on this, answer keys in there. They can do task cards. The task cards are back there, answer keys right here. They could play Kahoot against each other for, you know, like no more than 4. They can do that, or I didn't show these. They can have me come over and show random problems, and they can buzz in. And I bought those when I originally bought the first set of the dry erase protectors, or whatever you call those. So some of them got excited about that. So that's what we did today, and yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna grab some stuff because I need to take care of things here before I head out to UT. Scene of the day, Thursday. I have a headache. Some students just finished tutoring. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the student tracking sheet tomorrow, mainly because, well, my head hurts. I met my student teacher last night. He observes next week, and will begin taking over my 3rd and 6th period class 2 weeks from now. Today was good. We set up our interactive notebooks and did some practice with significant figure calculations. Doing that tomorrow. Tomorrow's a pep rally, so there's no advisory, and we're on a different schedule, so I need to make sure that I'm familiar with that. And then I think when I was reflecting, because I think I said that I wasn't feeling confident about like the whole personalization, when I went home I realized it's not really that I'm not confident, it's that I really have to create like stations for students as they're selecting their learning pathway, and then having first of all multiple copies of a particular station, but then also, you know, various forms of assessment, because I'm allowing students, and I showed this I believe yesterday, different forms that students can demonstrate their understanding. But then like if students are struggling on something, then and they're coming in for tutoring to say like, hey, I got it, I need more like backup practice for students, versus them coming in and like me just going off the top of my head, especially when a lot of them come in at the same time, then that's when I feel overwhelmed. So I realized that the other night, and then I started kind of creating these things and or going online and finding things that I can utilize, whether it was free or I purchased. And that seemed to help a lot. So when students were coming in, I had things for all of them. Also the answer key for the answer keys for the students to check themselves. So it went well today, and also during tutoring, during lunch and after school. But I'm gonna go home and get some rest and come fresh tomorrow. Based on the rules, yes. TGIF, it is Friday. So 8A class, to do what my B-Day students did yesterday. And I think I talked about that, I can't remember. But I do want to show this sheet, the student tracking sheet. Can't take credit for the initial design, because someone shared it in a Facebook group that I'm in over the summer, and I can't remember the person's name. So first of all, thank you, and then I did try to track that person's name down so I can officially say it. But then I made some modifications to it. So basically what I did was, the students, when they entered to Blend, I made a link, and when they clicked on it, it asked them to make a copy, so I force copied it. And so each student got their own copy of this tracking sheet, and then they shared it with me after they typed their name, where it says copy of student tracking sheet, and then I also, in cell A1, they had to put their name. From there, I explained to them that I took some of the skills, well, all the skills that they're learning about right now, and I broke them into learning targets, and to be more specific, to help them out, which many of the students realized today, because we started significant figures, which involved rounding and scientific notation. And so right away, many of the students, even yesterday, who were lacking in scientific notation and significant figures, they started to struggle. And so again, yesterday students came and were getting tutoring. So for example, scientific notation, I can explain why it's useful in science. This one's not really like a big deal, but I would like for them to know why we're doing it. To write numbers in scientific notation if given the standard or original notation. And then from there, there's a whole list. The FA stands for formative assessment. That's really more for me, but I've told the students this is practice, and so they will either check guided or still need practice. If it's something that I already put in the grade book, they will either see a 50, which means still needs practice. It doesn't mean that they got an F. Or if they got it, they will see a 100 in the grade book. Again, it doesn't mean that they have 100, it just means that they got it. And all of the things in my grade book are weighted as 0. Then they have to tell me their evidence of learning. So for example, this first column, all the students have something in, and there was a learning checkup on the 24th, I believe. And so, and this was just, I was explaining to students, so this is just an example. So if they got it, they put learning check, but even if they still need practice, they would put that. From there, if they need practice, and what we did today, switch, is I went over significant figure calculations, but then I had time towards the end of the class. So I taught whole class, did practice, walked around. Then after that part, I guess I am going to need this, because I said that in my beginning of the year tour that I was like, I don't think I'm going to use it, but I'm going to use it. So there are different practice sheets, and these are just things that I found on the internet. So if like, they still need to practice rounding, they have practice sheet that they can round on, and the answer keys in there. Also, if you don't want to buy the little dry erase packet things that I had, you don't need to buy these. You can always just use sheet protectors, maybe more cost efficient for some people. And then I just made the answer keys, and so there are about like 10 of these in there. Each has an answer key in an envelope. There's another practice rounding sheet with the answer keys, scientific notation calculations, significant figure formative assessment, I had some other stuff. So I have like all these different practice things for students. Some students elected to play Kahoot. So some did it in one of my earlier periods and maybe like 6 students. Another class, more students decided to play against one another. And so there were just many different opportunities. I'm sad that none of my students decided to do the puzzles, but perhaps at some later point when they want more practice. So I just told them today, like, you need to look at your student tracking sheet. Wherever you have a still needs practice, you need to go and grab the appropriate work and start practicing on that and checking yourself. Don't come to me until like you've gone through it, you check your answers, and if you're struggling, call me over or work with other people. So it's really trying to get the students to, you know, be more responsible and hold themselves accountable for their learning. I feel like I'm getting a better hang of it. So today went well. Yesterday also went well, but today they had more time to do, like if they wanted to do a Kahoot, they can go all the way through it. My second period really got into, my second period is one of my largest classes, and they really got into it. Third period, I need a little bit of an intervention because that's the only class that I'm not having issues with cell phones, but it's the only class where I'm having some challenges with them trading their cell phones in for the calculator. And I haven't had issues, as I said earlier, because I just told them, like, if I see it pulled out, your cell phone out, if you're telling me that you don't have it or you don't want to put it in there, then I'm going to make you, put it in the slot. So I haven't had issues with that, but they're the only classroom out of, you know, the 24, 30 slots that I have, there will only be 2 phones in there. But I haven't had issues with phones. But they're also my more talkative class, which I guess in a way is pretty good because I do have a student teacher and he's taking over my third period. I'll still be here to help and even still teach at times, but he'll at least get some experience with classroom management. So that's always a good thing. But the other classes are pretty well. They exchange their phones for calculators, and I think that's a positive because they've all are getting into it. Again, third period, it's like right after lunch, and so I can't, it's right now been difficult for me because they come in and they're sort of quiet. Some of them I know haven't like watched the videos or finished watching the videos, so I just told them they need to start coming in. Where some of my other classes are a little bit more lively and, you know, they seem to be having fun, whereas my third period I can't really tell yet. But hopefully that will change. They're a good set of students. It's just the gauge right now, and it's still at the beginning of the year, so hopefully they'll get a little bit more animated in that particular period. But we have a pep rally scheduled today, so we didn't have our advisory period, so it's just first, second, third, first, second, lunch, then third, and I'm off right now. And they were playing music during the passing periods, I guess, to get in. It was tie-dye, but I didn't have tie-dye, but then a student was like, your shoes. So I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. So I'm gonna go so I can take care of some stuff here, and I hope you all have a good 3-day weekend if you have a 3-day weekend. Do me a favor, if there was anything about this video that you liked, then make sure to hit that like button, comment down below, and or share the video. If you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe so that way you can bond with James. As always, thanks for watching. Bye.